Hi, Libra. Welcome to your weekly love reading. I hope you're doing well. There's a lot showing up in your energy this week, so let's dive in and see what Spirit wants to reveal about your love life right now, Libra. So we have the Eight of Wands, the Six of Swords, the Four of Swords, the Hermit, the Empress, the Sun, the Fool, the Six of Coins, the Five of Cups, and the Nine of Coin. Okay, in a love reading, the Nine of Coins, it does represent, it means that you're going to be fine on your own. I mean, the cards that were mentioned before the reading, the Four of Swords and the Hermit. So I kind of feel like this ties into the Nine of Coins. Because to me, the Nine of Coins, it is a card of independence and self-reliance, and you don't need anyone to hold your hand, and you don't need anyone to reassure you. You can succeed on your own. You don't need someone kind of egging you on and giving you a pep talk. It just means that financially, you're stable. And you can bring in much more abundance on your own than with someone else. So if there's a partner where you kind of feel like it's starting to become a codependent relationship, this just means that you don't really need them. Like, make sure that you're not staying in a relationship for the wrong reasons. Because this card does represent material things. This is a love reading, but this is something that has to be brought up. It means that, you're capable of a lot of abundance on your own, of having all the material things that you want, all the money that you want. And you bring this in on your own. You have no one to thank but yourself. The same applies for those who are single. If you're single, this just means that, you may be single and you don't want to be. But this week would be a great time for you to make the most of it. If you're not really, in the relationship that you want to be, focus on abundance. Because this card is telling you that you can make more money, find the perfect job, and just kind of have, everything ready for when you do meet that ideal partner. Okay, so first card is the Eight of Wands. So to me, this card represents a lot of movement, and it could be that you're traveling. This card does represent travel, but it represents, a lot of movement and a lot of excitement. So I feel like those who are in a relationship, like something happens, I feel like it's the beginning of the week because it's the first card, or you're coming into the week with this energy from a previous time where it's been a good time for you as a couple. I feel like there's been some new developments, exciting changes, good news. This is also a card of communication, good news, and I feel like you're coming into the week in a good place with a lot of kind of new things, new energy. And you have the Six of Swords. So this card, know as a message that, you're moving on to a much better place. So I feel like, in a previous time, maybe earlier, you were in not so positive place, because the Six of Swords means that you're moving on to something much healthier. And I feel like there's been some type of like positive development for you, positive development where you feel like, we're doing much better as a couple. Like, we're getting along. We're finally, on the same page. And it could be mentally, because this is the suit of air. Mentally, you're on the same page, and you're moving in a much more positive direction. You do have the Four of Swords. And like I said, this was mentioned before the reading, and here it is again. But there's still this energy of like space. Like, I mean, especially with the Nine of Coins here, I feel like you or your partner, I'm not sure which, it's a general reading, so it's hard to tell. Someone needs like their space. Someone needs time to kind of be their own person without constantly holding the other person's hand and reassuring them. This just, it's a card of recharging. And it could be that, you've been through something really difficult here, or you finally succeed in moving in a positive direction, but you still need, some time. You need some time to collect your thoughts. I even kind of feel like it could be just one partner. It could be one person in the relationship that kind of like needs a break. I know I keep getting this message of like codependence, and like somebody needs time to like be their own person, and like somebody doesn't really like that. We have the Five of Cups as the final card. So I feel like here, you need some space, and you need time to kind of figure out what's going on inside your head and, what you want. But I feel like you've already been through something challenging here, those who are in a relationship. And you're in a much more positive place than you were before. But still there's like this lingering energy of like, I need some space. I need to be on my own. Now for those who are single, the Eight of Wands is just telling you that, there's something exciting, happening for you possibly in the beginning of the week. Like I told the couples, something exciting, some positive news. It could be, the positive news is that someone you were interested in is interested and wants to ask you out. Could be that you're traveling to meet this person, or that you meet someone while you're traveling. This is just, movement. So if you've been talking a rut in your love life, like something is changing here. You're finally kind of seeing excitement, and you're seeing movement, and you're no longer kind of stuck. And, you have another message confirming that, telling you that you're moving on to something much more positive. For those who are single, I feel like you may have been in a relationship where something was kind of toxic, and I feel like someone has finally realized that this person is not going to bring what I thought into my life, and I'm moving on. And I feel like you're moving on to a much better place as a person. Like you finally have a sense of inner peace. And again, they're telling you to really kind of enjoy this time being on your own. Doesn't mean there's not going to be another partner for you, but I feel like here you really need to kind of find yourself. You need peace, you need tranquility. Could be that you get away. Both of these cards sometimes represent, travel and kind of getting away from everything. I feel like here you need to heal as well. This could mean that you're healing physically, that you're healing emotionally. I forgot to mention it, but this could also apply to those who are already in a relationship. Can mean that you went through something really difficult with your partner and you're still together, but you still need that space, to heal emotionally. It's like something, it's hard to say because it's a general reading, but it's like something like still has not been healed emotionally. Like you still need some space to kind of figure things out. So down here we have the Hermit, and the Hermit does represent solitude. It means that you need some time to yourself. I feel like I'm just repeating myself from the Four of Swords, but this is a major arcana. It means that you want to know the truth of what's going on in your life. You want to know the truth. You want some answers. But this is going to require a lot of digging, a lot of soul searching in order to get to the root of the problem of like what's going on here. I feel like someone needs to like find themselves spiritually. And with the Four of Swords, I feel like this card and this card are probably the most important cards in this entire reading. So think about, what does that mean for you? I feel like here you need to see the light. I feel like you need to see the truth, but you may only be able to do that on your own. For those who are single, again, that's what I said about this card. Use this time where you're on your own to kind of figure out who you are, what you want in a partner. You already have this energy of the Nine of Coins telling you that you can be incredibly successful financially, setting the foundation for your future, for your children, for the spouse that will come into your life. You may need this time to figure out, what changes you want to make as far as like who you're bringing into your life, maybe something about yourself. This is just soul searching on a deep level, very deep level. Then you have the Empress. So the Empress is the ultimate abundance card. This can mean that you don't have to compromise, that you can have it all. You can have everything that you want. You can have financial stability, you can have happiness, you can have the marriage that you always wanted, the children, love, your dream partner, or something that I'm getting. You don't have to compromise. And I feel like here with the Four of Swords and the Hermit, that they're telling you you don't have to compromise. Like, take some time to think. Maybe somebody's about to get engaged and they're telling you, like, don't make a mistake, especially if you feel like you're compromising in some way. Because you feel like, you know, this person has most of the qualities that I want. Maybe they don't have this or this or this. But you know, you can't have everything. But she's telling you that you can have everything. So don't compromise. For those who are single, or maybe you're dating or you're engaged, this is just kind of like an exclamation mark from the universe telling you that you don't have to compromise. You can have it all. But only if you're really kind of, you know, looking for that. Even for those who are married, I mean, I feel like this could also be telling you the same message. You don't have to compromise, especially if you've already, you know, you feel like you moved on as far as something difficult. But still, something's nagging away at you, is what I get from these two cards. Something's nagging away at you. It's just telling you that you don't have to settle. You can have all the abundance that you want in the form of happiness and financial stability and children and everything. But this may come after a lot of soul searching. And does this not necessarily mean that you leave your spouse behind? But it could mean that there are some changes that have to happen for those who are already in a relationship. Now, the next card is the Sun. So to me, the Sun represents positive energy, a positive outcome. It represents marriage and children, you know, and it's right next to the Empress. Again, I feel like she's telling you, you don't have to compromise. You don't have to tell yourself, well, you know, I have this and this and this and this person and I should be thankful. You can have everything here. I feel like there's a much more positive future waiting for you. Again, it doesn't mean you're leaving your partner behind, but it could mean that everything has not been worked out, even though you have already done some work on the relationship. For those who are single, this card, you know, can represent marriage. It just means there's a lot of positive energy around you, especially with the Empress being here. It's like they're telling you that, you know, this week is the perfect time for you to bring in a partner that just kind of radiates positive energy and is a potential marriage partner. That, you know, it could be the potential father or mother of your children. I mean, the opportunities are just kind of endless when it comes to the Sun. It's the most positive card in the major arcana, right next to the most abundant card. In fact, I just noticed that all three here are major arcanas. So the universe is kind of screaming at you, when you see one of these, you need time on your own, or you really need to think very carefully. You don't have to compromise because you can have it all. Even if you convince yourself that, well, you can't have everything. Yes, you can. And, you know, there's an opportunity here for a lot of abundance and positive energy this week. So this is a love reading. I'm looking at what's going on in these three cards. I'm going to start off for those who are already in a relationship. I feel like, you know, as someone here with the Fool, it's like you take a giant leap of faith and you understand the messages that are here and you begin to see them play out in your life. And you feel like I could find, you know, happiness and everything that I deserve, maybe in a different place, and taking you a leap of faith and maybe move in a different direction or with a different partner. Again, this is a risk that you're taking. And it could be, I have to say, it could be that the risk that you take is to stay with your partner. It doesn't mean that what you're risking is that you're moving away. Maybe the risk is that, yeah, I'll give you a second chance. And the next card was the Six of Coins. So this is a card of generosity, is a card of help and receiving and getting what you deserve. So make sure that you're getting what you deserve if you're giving someone a second chance. Because I did get that message over here at the beginning of the reading. It's like you've already hit that bump, but you made it through. Yet this, you know, still see these doubts going on here. And this message of don't compromise. I feel like, you know, yeah, maybe you're willing to give someone a second chance, but are you getting what you deserve? Are you getting, you know, what you truly deserve, the happiness and the love that you deserve? Are you receiving anything? Because here there's sadness. It's like you receive, but yet there's this, you know, sadness that is still there. And I feel like, I mean, again, I hate to say it, but I feel like someone may kind of give someone a second chance and then still feel like maybe I shouldn't have done that. The Five of Cups does represent kind of disappointment that something didn't work out. And it's kind of dwelling on, you know, I wish that hadn't happened. I wish that hadn't happened. It's just kind of dwelling on something that's really sad. So, you know, I received that message, you know, as far as like giving someone a second chance, but it could go either way. The Fool can also just mean that, like I said, that you move in a different direction. That someone just kind of, those who are maybe just dating or engaged, that maybe, you know, after plenty of soul searching, you realize that you don't have to compromise. It could be that someone else comes along that you finally see, I can have what I deserve. It could be that, you know, this person is like right in front of you, those who are single or maybe just living together, you see, you know, what you truly deserve, and you take, you know, a giant risk. But again, there could be this sense of sadness and maybe kind of wondering like what could have been with the other person. Or some of you may even kind of regret the mistake that you know, you feel like you made a mistake. It's hard to say because it's a general reading. But I feel just kind of looking at this reading, a couple things just, you know, come through that this week you're supposed to be focusing on you. I get that from this card. I get it from this one, from the Nine of Coins, the Four of Swords, and the Hermit. These two cards are the most important cards in this entire reading. And this just means like a timeout. You need to figure out what's going on in your head. You need to know what's for your highest good. And I feel like, you know, the cards around it explains, you know, part of the story. You don't have to settle. You can have it all. You do always hear that term, you can't have everything. Yes, yes, you can. This whole reading is screaming at you, yes, you can. And I feel like you've already been through, you know, a bump or two here where you moved on, or you feel you moved on. But yet this energy, you know, it's still there. The Four of Swords, the Hermit, one right after the other of like space. I need time to find myself. You know, in this energy of like, you know, disappointment, like just like, why didn't this work out? Just, you know, kind of sadness. So I feel like you can avoid this energy of sadness and disappointment if you're really kind of, you know, understanding that you don't have to settle. You don't have to settle for second best. Take that risk, whatever it is that comes up for you this week. But, you know, a crazy risk, a giant leap of faith. Remember that you are your own person. That's the main energy that you have to work with. You can have all the abundance that you want, all the love that you want. You don't be codependent on anyone. Okay, so the confirmation cards were Nine of Swords, the Tower, and the Six of Pentacles, and you already have that message down here, so it's like a double whammy. The bottom of the deck, the Two of Swords. So to me, the Two of Swords represents a difficult decision. It's kind of like one of those energies where, you know, you have to do something and you really don't want to do it. And it's just kind of like it's haunting you, and you do anything else but see the truth, take action. And you're just, you know, you're sticking your head in the sand. But this does represent, you know, a difficult choice that you have to make. And it could be that you're choosing between two outcomes or two people. Now you have the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords, to me, it represents fears, like you're afraid of something happening. You know, you're afraid of a certain outcome, to where you have nightmares of like, you know, oh God, this is going to happen in this relationship or in my love lives. I feel like while you're kind of focusing on these fears of what's going to happen, the Nine of Swords represents worry without merit. While you're busy worrying about what could happen, you're kind of letting time pass and opportunities pass. You know, this message of the Empress, you're sleeping while, you know, all these opportunities are passing you by for happiness and love and truly having it all. So you're worried here about something happening that's not even going to happen. And it could be that you end up alone, or you make a mistake, whatever that is. The Nine of Swords represents a lot of worry and anxiety. Of course, this could also represent, you know, the change that you have to make here. For those who are single, it could be that you're worried that you're going to stay single for the rest of your life. But again, that's not what I see in this reading. In fact, I see no marriage and children after a lot of soul searching. Now, you also have the Tower. So I feel like some of you, you know, those who, you know, where some big decision really applies to you, and you're really kind of facing your fears, and, you know, you don't have to compromise. It could be that you make a decision and there is kind of like this explosion in your life. That's the energy of the Tower. It's like this is a shock, and it could be a shock to you and everyone around you. A huge change that happens in your life for the better. Because the Tower represents sudden change, unexpected things happening. But the Tower represents kind of tearing down this tower that just, it doesn't work anymore, and rebuilding something that really represents who you are now and what you feel you truly deserve. Now down here you have the Six of Pentacles. So this is one of those like double whammy messages, because you have it here in the Six of Coins, same message, same card, this is, kind of screaming at you what you deserve. You should be aiming for what you deserve, not what you feel that you have or what, what life gave you, what God gave you. Be looking for what you deserve. And I feel like if you're not doing that and you're cheating yourself, it could be, look at what's going on right here. What you deserve. Six of Pentacles, what you deserve with a risk right in the middle, the Fool. It's like you know what you deserve. It involves a new beginning. It involves a new beginning, a risky new beginning, but you have everything that you've ever wanted right here. So again, I just get a strong message that for some of you, like you do something unexpected and the Tower, is kind of screaming that at you. You do something unexpected, but you end up getting, what you, should have received to begin with. And I feel like there could be sudden and unexpected changes this week going into the next time. But again, just kind of focus on yourself. Don't worry about anyone else. Everyone else they will be fine. Just kind of focus on your happiness and your abundance. Okay, Libra, I will end the reading here. I hope you enjoyed it. Much love and bless.